Managing Director of Syrma SGS, Jasbir Singh Gujral, joining in this morning. Mr. Gujral, very good morning. Pleasure as always to have you with us here on NDTV Profit. Just want to understand a few more details of this first tranche, this first set of clearances that the government has given. What is the scheme about and what does it mean for Syrma?
Thank you, Tamanna. I think this ECMS policy is one of the biggest turning points in the long journey of the electronics industry in the country. And the industry has been sort of asking for it for a long time. And thanks to this government, they have announced the first set of the thing. Now, if you see on the macro level, the scheme, government has received 249 applications with a cumulative investment of 1,15,000 crores. Typically, in a component industry, the set turnover ratio is 1.5, max 2. So on an average, if we take 1.5, it means the annual import bill saving of about 1,75,000 crores when the scheme is fully implemented. This is just the beginning. And I think once this component scheme is fully mobilized and the industries put up capacity, the next phase will be when the materials which go into the making of the components would get a kickstart. Currently, only the low-hanging fruits like the copper-clad laminates and other things are being pushed. But the piece parts which go into the making of the component, they would receive a big push 2 to 3 years down the line.
Gujral, that's exactly what I want to ask you, and this is Alex. When we were speaking about semiconductors even a couple of years back and talking about India wanting to get into this space, it was very clear that you would not manufacture the absolute cutting edge. You would have to start somewhere to build the value chain. And this is true for quite a few of that entire ecosystem. What you're describing is exactly that. It's going to take a couple of years. But if you were to talk about your company specifically, what is the potential that you see? How much of the value chain will you cover? And what is the indigenization that you will be able to drive in that component space? And how soon can you see that?
Okay. So we have got our first approval for the multi-layer PCB lines capacities, which will be about 2.5 million square meters per annum. We have filed applications for copper-clad laminate, HDI, flex, rigid flex, some mechanical components, wire harness, etc. Now, in the initial phase, when we start manufacturing the PCB, I personally believe bulk of it, the materials for the next 1 year or 2 years will be imported, except for whatever is available in India, and copper-clad laminate could be one of them, which is the major cost in the raw material component of the PCB. So what in the first ways the companies will be doing is the value addition which was being paid to the third country will remain within India. And in case of PCBs, for example, the material cost is approximately 60-65%. So 35% is the value addition for the chemicals and all those things. Now, once the PCB manufacturing base is established in India, parallelly the companies are putting up the basic raw materials which go into the making of a PCB, and CCL, copper-clad laminate, is the biggest. It is about 40% of the total material cost of a PCB. So I think 2 years down the line, the CCL would be sourced domestically. The substrate, the inks, and other things, I personally believe, would still continue to be imported. And once there's enough capacity created in India for the PCBs, this will give a market to the potential companies which want to enter into those materials. Today, the market in India for those materials is not there, and hence it's not a viable proposition for companies to put up that capacity. But I think 2 to 3 years down the line, or in parallel, these things will come up.
Got it. So, Mr. Gujral, from 65% imported, it could go down to what, about 30%, 35% imported after 2 years as well? Roughly?
Yes. No, see, copper-clad, I don't know if the copper is available in India. It will be bought in India.
So
but
if
the
picture.
copper is imported,
got it.
then I'm only doing the processing for the laminate.
Got it. Okay, so it's a moving picture. Fair call. Now, tell us, what is the significance of this for a company like Syrma? Because you've gotten one of these approvals. Maybe you'll bid for more. Maybe you have bid for more. Some of the other approvals might come in. What is the significance of this for your, let's say, numbers 5 years out or 3 years out, whatever?
See, there are two aspects to it. What's good for the company and what's good for the country. So
Okay.
in this particular case, the interests sink. Backward integration is good for the company and very good for the country. Typically, PCB industry has a asset turnover ratio of 1 to 1.5 at the max. So currently, the three companies which have been approved in the first list have, I think, a cumulative investment of approximately less than 5,000 crores. Maybe 4,000 crores. So the value addition, the import bill which will be saved will be about 4,000 to 5,000 crores or 6,000 crores. Now, we have applied for CCL, multi-layer, this HDI flex and rigid flex. Once those things come in, our total investment is estimated about 1,500 crores. So we should expect that we should be able to generate a revenue when the capacities are fully established of about 2,000, 2,200 crores. And that will be a direct saving of the import of PCBs, 90% of which is being imported today.
Okay.
So Alex, it seems that 5,000 crores cumulative investment, 1 to 1.5 times asset turnover. So not very large numbers at the beginning, but eventually getting up.
But I just want to ask Mr. Gujral, this is of course the first stage, right? What is your anticipation as to how much more can be done at this point? And just to establish the timelines here, you will start breaking ground, you will start setting up capacity. When will it come on stream? And when will that 2,000 crore odd of revenue come through for Syrma?
See, we are going to start construction of the factory within this year. That's within 25. And hopefully we should be out with the trial production somewhere around December of 26. That's for the first phase which we are implementing. Parallelly, post the December 26, we'll start implementing the phase 2, which is the copper clad laminate, the rigid flex, and the flex PCBs, high density PCBs, the approvals of which have yet to come. The government has just approved 4-5 applications, and I must compliment the government. The scheme closed on 30th of September, and on 27th October, and with all the holidays of Diwali, Sunday, Saturday, and other things, in about 15 working days, the government has released the first set of approvals. So I think
that yes. No, you're absolutely right, sir. That deserves commendation because, forget government, even companies don't work on that speed. So that definitely is there.
Absolutely, that's what I was coming.
No, but my question to you is that now, out of this, what really is the incentive that Syrma receives as part of this application? Is there some clarity on the breakup of what does this scheme actually entail? So there's a 765 crore value to the whole project. What does the government do in this? How does it help you out in this?
See, the central government ECMS schemes gives a fiscal incentive on the revenue, which is 5% on PLI. And on HDI, flex and other things, they also give capex incentive. So in the phase 1
what is the amount of incentive that you will be receiving?
If I'm talking of this phase, if I do about an 800 crore investment, and in 5 years I do about 4,000 crores or 3,500, 4,000 crores of revenue, the PLI which I'll earn is about 200 crores.
This is only PCB, right, sir?
Yeah.
It would be more for the phase 2 that you're talking about, where you're talking about copper-clad laminates, etc.
No, the incentive is it's purely revenue based. It's revenue based. So whatever revenues I do, I get the incentive.
So you spoke about.
In addition to that, Andhra Pradesh government is giving capex incentives, which at the lower end is about 50% of the capex cost.
Oh.
So if I take phase 1. And 765 it's about 380 crores of capex incentives from the state government.
Which is payable by when? When does that accrue to you?
Which will be payable once we start the production.
Okay.
So I expect that we should be able to get the first tranche of the incentive in the calendar year 27.
Sir, I just want to check, you gave us a timeline, and December 2026 is when this PCB and the phase 1 is going to start, ideally. Yeah, and I just want to understand the copper-clad laminates, which you're saying backward integration, what you're building out. What are the timelines for that? Will that happen simultaneously?
I think it will happen, maybe we start the construction of that project somewhere around this time next year, to be ready by about December 27, somewhere around in calendar 27. So there'll be a 1-year lag between the multi-layer PCB and the copper-clad plant.
Okay. Fair call, Mr. Gujral. We'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for taking the time out, and all the best for this and all the other things around PCB and more.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Always a pleasure.